Alright, welcome back everybody. This is CB Rivals Podcast Season 2, Episode 6. I'm CB, Tournament Organizer for CB Rivals. Corto might join later, or he might not. We'll have to wait and find out. He's the Tournament Organizer for Core Tournament, of course, and you'll be seeing him later in the podcast, hopefully, or next week. With me today is one of the team captains, co-team captains from a team that has actually promoted from the play-in division to the Feudal division, the highest division now. And they are having a blast over there. At least that's what I hope to hear from them. So Wolfsilent, welcome.
Hello everyone.
Hello.
Thanks CB for having me here.
Yeah, of course. Good to have you here as well. How did you enjoy it so far?
I mean, we enjoy the fights. We really love the fights we had. We are improving as well, and we are really enjoying to be in Feudal, even if we know it's hard. We are enjoying.
Yeah, good to hear. You made a big jump last season, so definitely want to talk with you about that. And we're also going to talk about Rustic, the Feudal, and also Core Tournament, because those matches are going to be pretty hype as well in the next couple of weeks. But before we go there, can you explain to those who don't know you who you are for Argonauts?
Yeah, sure. So I'm a Silent Warrior. I'm one of the captain of Argonauts. So I was the captain of Bucket Munchers with you last season. So it was in Rustic division. I decided to join Argonauts team for this season of CBR. And actually they needed a captain because the latest captain, who is Adredux, had to go for school. So I was happy to replace him and to help Argonauts team as much as I can. So at the moment I will say I'm doing quite a lot of things for them, but it's always with pleasure and with willing to get the team running well.
Yeah, nice, good to hear. And you guys have had a pretty rough start, but you also managed to pick up some good points against some of the teams like Slav and Pontgard. So how do you feel is the level right now for your team in the competition?
I mean, like I said, we knew it was going to be tough. We got proposed to be in Feudal. We accepted it. We were ready to have tough time. Not gonna lie, we were ready for this. But we want to have good fights and we want to improve, and that's why we decided to accept to be in Feudal. And I think we can say that Argonauts team improved from the start of the season and now. So I'm quite happy about our improvements. And yeah, I want to see us for the future.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll talk more about your future as well then in a bit. Before we go there though, I want to drop 3 questions at you that you just have to react as quickly as you can.
Yeah.
So are you ready?
Yep.
All right. Top 3 Rustic or bottom 3 Feudal?
Top 3 Rustic.
All right. We'll talk about that later for sure. Cav meta or infantry meta?
I mean, I would like infantry meta, but right now it's Cav meta.
All right. Beating Odins in Core Tournament or beating Odins in CB Rivals?
Beating Odins in CB Rivals.
All right, interesting. Yeah, so going to that match first then. You guys have a pretty rough weekend back then.
Yeah, we had to fight Odin's Legion on both Core Tournament the Friday and on CB Rivals the Sunday.
Yeah.
So for the quarter, they won just massively. They played really well together. We were not playing that great at this time, but yeah, I mean it was a great fight from them. And on Sunday, it was a really good fight, I will say, for both teams. Both teams refused to play the meta, I will say, to change their strat to play the meta with Leos, Chevaliers, and stuff. So I think it's a good thing to have still fights with infantry, some cav and stuff. Even more, the fights were really good. I think our defense, we lacked a bit of experience, but yeah, I mean, Odin's played really well. They managed to make a really great comeback on their attack, so GG to them.
Yeah, absolutely. It was very interesting to watch those games as well. So good games, and also Odin's clearly made huge improvements after beating you. So you've clearly learned them or taught them something, because they actually beat No Beaches this weekend in round 5 on White Oak Fort. At least in one game it was a tie. So when we go to Feudal, we'll talk more about that match as well. But looking at how much Odins have improved in this season and also last season, I can imagine that it is a team that you look at in terms of like their growth this season. How do you compare your growth to their growth then?
I mean, like when we compare, Odin started with season 0 from CB Rivals, if I'm right, and like how they improved is just really impressive. Like they started with like low coordination and stuff, I would say, but they managed to really improve a lot, and like they're all playing really well together. They're still making some mistakes, but they're improving, and that's the most important. I would say compared to them, I would say Argonauts are not improving as much as them. Like for example, like I'm calling for Argonauts, but I'm not really experienced as calling. I'm just replacing our captain who had to go for school. But yeah, I mean we are still taking our marks, trying to find the good strats, trying to find our playstyle, and yeah, we are improving, but not as fast as Odin's.
Yeah, I get it. So, what are things then that you are working on as a team right now?
Can you repeat?
What are the things you're working on as a team right now?
Right now, like we are kinda working on our coordination, try to get more people to flank, trying to coordinate all the groups together, trying to play together to protect our exotics, so like flamers and stuff, because that's somewhere we are lacking, and also the dive for the flamers, and also the anti-cap of supplies.
Oh, I see.
Like
Yeah.
it's basically the coordination between all of us, knowing who needs to do what exactly at which time and stuff.
Yeah. That sounds like a lot still that you have to learn then.
Yeah, of course. I mean,
Yeah.
like that's why I like to be in Feudal, because we are improving a lot more. I will say than in Rustic. We are happy to improve, and we are just waiting to improve as much as we can.
Yeah, good. And then, so when I asked you the question about top 3 in Rustic or bottom 3 in Feudal, you said top 3 in Rustic. Why is that?
I will say the top 3 in Rustics are really well prepared at the moment. Like most of the top 3 Rustic are really strong. Are really strong at the moment. Not gonna lie. After I think I would say top 3 Rustic, because there's a lot of competition at the moment on Rustic, and like the bottom 3 from Feudal, they are a good team, I would say. Like, but yeah, I think we expect more from the top 3 Rustic. Like they are playing in Rustic right now, but they can be really amazing next season.
Yeah, absolutely. And do you want to have a look at the Rustic teams? Because I think that is something that we haven't talked about enough yet in the podcast, at least. But yeah,
for sure.
All right, let's go there then, because those teams are really interesting. I'll just go over the matches that happened last week first, and then we'll talk about the teams and also the next 2 rounds that are coming up, and what that means, because the Rustic division has a playoffs after the regular season. For those who don't know that, and this means that the top 3 from each group of the Rustics division, so Group A and Group B, the top 3 will go to the playoffs. The first place team doesn't have to play in the first round, and the second team from one group will play against the third place team in the other group, and vice versa. So the third place from Group A will play against the second group in Group B, and then in the semifinals, the first from each group will play against the winner from their first round. The winner of that semifinal will go to the final, of course, and both finalists will actually go to the Feudal division guaranteed, and the 2 teams that lose the semifinals will play third place match, and the winner of the third place match gets to challenge the sixth place team from the Feudal division in order to also promote to the Feudal division, potentially. So that's basically what's on the line for these teams. You can check it out on the challenge link as well if you haven't done so yet. So last round was pretty interesting, and we have now passed round 5. So this means that we can start to see what teams will be fighting for those top 3 places, and it's actually really exciting. So last week, Crypta unfortunately dropped out of the CB Rivals because they couldn't find enough players, with some of their players quitting the game. So Alini Marmi got the free win there. Love and Devotion won against Adamant, as expected, and Apes won against Golem Lives, also kind of as expected. So that means that for the standings right now in Group A, we have Alini Marmi at the top with 11 points. They have still 1 game to play. Chocolate Goblin with 10 points, still 2 games to play. Love and Devotion with 8 points together with Apes. But Love and Devotion have 2 matches to play and Apes only 1. But Apes and Love and Devotion will play each other in the final round, so that is going to be a big match. Adamant and Golem's Life seem to be out of the top 3 because they only have 4 points and only 1 match to play, and Crypta is out of the CB Rivals. They will be finishing in 7th. So looking at that group, Silent, what team stands out for you?
I will say Alaina Mermi. Like we know this team, like it's some people from Impact and YIA who did an awesome job last season. So we definitely know their quality. Like we know that they are really strong players on it. I mean, like this group is really interesting because like the 3 top teams are playing really well. I would say, like Chocolate Goblins, they were also. They had the possibility to be in Feudal, but they preferred to stay in Rustic to build their team a bit more. And I think like they did an awesome job there. Like they stayed in Rustic, but like they are doing really well there. Like just they won 3 matches, so it's really great. Like I think they are doing really awesome there. But still, like even without, there's still competition in this group.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like for now, we can't say who is going to win this group, first spot on this group.
Yeah, it will be a really close call. So in the next 2 rounds, also just to give you an idea, it will be Love and Devotion against Golem's Life. So Love and Devotion is expected to win that match, and like I said, that will mean that Apes and Love and Devotion probably get to play for that 3rd place between the 2 of them in the last round. And Chocolate Goblin and Ali Mermi play this Sunday against each other. So the top 2 from Group A will be playing each other, and that match is going to be really important.
Yeah, it will be the decisive match, I would say, for the first spot.
Yeah.
Like if Alaina Miami like manage to win, they are first of the division. If they are making a draw, then they will need Chocolate Goblins to make a draw, I think.
Yeah, correct. So, yeah, exactly correct. So Chocolate Goblin play 1 more match in round 7 against Adamant. So if Chocolate Goblin tie against Alina Mermi and win against Adamant, then Chocolate is first. If Alina Mermi and Chocolate tie, and Chocolate also ties in the last round, then Alina Mermi and Chocolate Goblin have to play a tiebreaker match on the 30th of October. So yeah, that's how it's supposed to go. Yeah, we'll see.
I mean, it's going to be really surprising. I think we can have a lot of surprise on the different matches.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think theoretically it could even be that Love and Devotion, for example, win against Golem's Life, get 11 points. Apes win against Love and Devotion, also have 11 points. And then let's say Chocolate Goblin ties against Ali Mermi and lose the last round. They also have 11. Like, there are some situations where 3 teams could be tied for 2nd place.
Yeah. I mean, it's going to be really amazing, I think. Yeah. And like, even if Apes are behind, I will say, we can still manage to get in the top 3. Like, like the top 4 from Group A can really change a lot.
Yeah, absolutely.
For the last of season, so.
Yep.
It
Yeah.
it will be interesting to see what happens.
It will be, and also I think that the top two from this group, and we expect it to be Alima Mermi and Chocolate Goblin. Those two teams seem to be really strong, and like you said, they seem to be strong enough that you think they deserve to be in Feudal and fighting for at least at sixth or fifth place, maybe even fourth place. So um, I'm very curious to find out more about those teams in the next couple of weeks. So let's go to Group B, because honestly,
Yep.
Group B is no different, right?
Group B is quite almost the same. Like it's really intense again.
Yeah, exactly. We'll just go over the standings first, just to show you how intense it is. So right now we have N-Gegner sitting in third with 13 points, but the Young Faction is following them like really closely, and they have one catch-up game. So Gum Faction needs to play 2 more, and then they will be tied with N-Gegner. And N-Gegner and Gum Faction tied each other in the second round, I believe. Yeah, second round. So assuming N-Gegner and Gum Faction win out this season, then they are guaranteed to play a tiebreaker match for that first place. And then behind them, it's also really close, because Palia Old School and Fury of the Slavs both have 9 points. So they could technically still catch up to Gun Faction, and even catch up to N-Gegner if N-Gegner loses their last match, and Palia or Fury of the Slav win both games. So it's this group also could go like anyway.
Yeah, I mean, like this group is intense, I will say, for third spot also. Like next match will decide on who is going to be third, basically. Like Fury of the Slavs already got the 3 points for the last round, if I'm right.
Yeah, correct.
So basically, next match between Fury of the Slavs and Pala Old School will decide on who is the third team of this group.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
It will be really interesting to see.
Yep.
And again, like if Baila managed to win against Fury of the Slavs, then we will see a fight between N-Gegner and Baila to decide who will be second or
Yeah, that's true. I didn't even notice, but you're right, because N-Gegner and Palia play each other around 7. So yeah, correct. That means that the winner of if Palia win, like you said, then they're guaranteed top 3, but then N-Gegner and Palia get to decide who becomes second.
Yeah,
or if
exactly.
N-Gegner gets to fight against Gun Faction, because if N-Gegner ties or loses in the last round, then they will not be fighting for first.
Yeah, I mean, that's really amazing this season, I will say, most particularly, because like on both groups, a lot of things can change. Like the four first spot can really change a lot. So it will be really interesting to see the 2 last rounds and see which one is getting on the top of the groups.
Absolutely, and I also feel like in both groups we have 2 very clear favorites to get out, right?
Yeah.
Like a pretty clear top 2, and then 2 teams fighting for third place, and of course those teams could create a big upset in the playoffs. But that also means that with 4 teams that we expect to be guaranteed to go out of the groups, only 3 of those teams can make it to the Feudal division. So one of the teams that we think are really good will not make it.
Yeah, I mean, it's the game, I will say, like they know that they will need to play really hard for this spot. I mean, it's to go for Feudal division, so for sure they need to play as good as they can, and they will need to fight for their spot.
Yeah, absolutely, and no doubt about that. Yeah, so this will be very interesting to follow, guys. And like you said, each round, every game matters that these teams play now. So we're gonna have to wait and find out what's going to happen there. Let's go to your division then, the Feudal division. Because some upsets happened last Sunday. We talked about it, Odin's Legion versus No Beaches. Very surprising result on White Oak Fort. No Beaches taking the loss on the first attack from Odin's, and then No Beaches came back in the defense, tying up the score 1-1. But this now means that No Beaches no longer has it in their own hands to contest plebs for a season win. They are now actually with 8 points, so they're like quite low now in the standings, 4th place. Plebs winning against Pontguard as expected, but Pontguard put up a really interesting fight in that one, so we'll have to talk about it later. Surf Slayer winning against Slavs, quite convincing, and Kebabs winning against you guys, also 2-0. How do you feel about your own match?
I mean, I think it's hard to say. Like,
Hmm.
we know the quality of Kebabs. They're really strong players. They have a really different gameplay compared to the other teams. They're really aggressive on what they're doing,
Mm-hmm.
and like a bit sad because I will say the attack we could have done something different, but I decided to play too slowly, and I forgot about the timer. So
Okay, okay.
I mean, like a lack of experience, but definitely Kebabs played really well.
Mhm.
I mean, we were waiting for them to play a lot of cows, considering their ban. Since the ban models, like, it means something.
Yep, exactly.
But yeah, I mean, they managed to play really well with infantry and cav, and yeah, I mean, it was just a really good fight from them.
Yeah, yeah, it definitely was, and it's good that you mentioned. Like we noticed during the stream as well, you guys were taking a really long time to find the place that you were looking for. What exactly was it that you were looking for?
I mean, like, we haven't done that much this start on during the scrims. We've
Hmm.
done another sorts, but like with the Falcos, a lot of things can happen. Like, you can't play as the same if you don't have Falcos.
Mm-hmm.
And like, I just tried something, but it was just taking too much time. So it was my bad on it. But yeah, I mean, my players played really well. I'm sorry for about with them, but yeah, I mean, I'm taking this experience, and I will not make it again.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah, I mean, it's still you guys played very patiently, and um, yeah, you didn't even play that bad. So I mean, good try, and that I actually kind of like that you took the time to find the good spots because yeah, it looked like you were definitely looking for a good plan and
Yeah, I mean,
aiming for
like,
something.
we are definitely looking to find our the good play style
Mm-hmm.
we want to work with. Like, it's taking time, but we'll find it for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and hopefully you will find it this Sunday against Plebs, another very tough match. Because so when we take a look at the standings right now, Plebs clearly in the lead, 4 wins, 1 tie, only against no beaches, 13 points. Second place Kebabs and Surf Slayer were also going to play each other in core tournament, and you wanted to talk about that match later, so we will.
Yes.
And the Kebabs currently have 9 points, is the Surf Slayer, both teams winning 3 times, losing twice. And then No Beaches following them with 8 points, losing once and tying twice, if I'm correct. Yeah. And then Odin's Legion with 7 points, tied with Bondguard for 5th place, which is really important because 5th place it means that you are safe for the Feudal Division. 6th place means you have to play a tiebreaker match against the 3rd place team from the Rustic Division. All these places and locations. And 7th and 8th place means you are out of the Feudal Division. You'll be going to the Rustic, which might not be a bad thing because, like you said, playing on Rustic, a really good competition and lots of good games. So Argonautas and Slavs sitting at 2 and 1 point right now, only 2 matches to go. It seems very unlikely that you will be making it out. But you could be very important for the CB Rifles because if you tie against Plebs, this suddenly means that Kebabs could or Surf Slayer could go to 12 points, only 1 point behind Plebs, and then the final round, Kebabs and Plebs, could actually be the decider for who wins the season.
I mean,
So
we never know.
no pressure on you, but I hope you get something special planned for this Sunday.
We are working on it. But
Excellent.
yeah, I mean, we never know. Like, surprise can happen.
Mhm.
Like, we know the quality of Pleb. Like, we know they're really playing really well together. Like, they're playing. I don't even think they need to talk together to be able to play together.
Mhm.
Like, the cohesion they got, they already know what people will be doing, and that's just amazing.
Mhm.
Amazing team to see.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the way they play, it's really convincing, and they also do really well in Frontier. So they're clearly showing that they are one of the best teams right now. But 2 of the other teams that are really good are Kebabs and Surf Slayer, sitting in 2nd place right now. They had, especially Surf Slayer, had some really tough matches at the start of the season, and they didn't do as well as they wanted to. So they are looking for revenge now, also in core tournament, which is the most important tournament right now because CBL is not there yet, and CB Rifles just a league, but it allows you to play in core tournament on the official tournament server. So I think winning core tournament is more prestigious. Kebabs and Surf Slayer then. So I'll just have you talk because you noticed something interesting about that match.
Yeah. Yeah, basically, we know that the first match between Kebab and Surf Slayer were on a Longfjord. Kebab managed to make the surprise against Surfs and won 2-0. And if I'm right, the next match on the Corto, like it's basically Kebab and Surfs playing on a Longfjord again. So it will be really interesting to see if Surfs can manage to get their revenge or if Kebab will win again this match. Looks like a lot of things can happen. Both teams are playing really well, and like I think it will be really interesting to see the outcome of the match.
Yeah, absolutely. And the other match in core tournament that will be played on Friday, October 21, is Chocolate Goblin versus Odin's Legion. Another interesting match because Odin's Legion currently sitting in 5th place for the Feudal Division, and Chocolate Goblin's trying to go to the Feudal Division as probably one of the maybe best teams out of the 4 that we expect to go to the Feudal Division. So that will be another interesting match to see how well they also do when they get to play against Surf Slayer or Kebabs in a later round to prove themselves, right? So
yeah,
it's going to be interesting as well. So that will be that. And core tournament will finish on 6th of November. That's when the final will be. So even if Surf Slayer or Kebabs lose, they will get to fight in the losers bracket against Chocolate Goblin or Odin's Legion. And then the winner of that match will finally go to the final to have a rematch again. So we could be seeing a lot of Surf Slayer and Kebabs over the next couple of weeks. And that's actually really fun and good. So that's about those matches. I wanted to talk about the match that Pond Guard had as well. So we talked about the meta, right? It's very Cav oriented, especially with Liao Rangers being extremely strong. You can notice it in your TWs or your Sieges or your ranked games. But Liao Rangers are disabled for last weekend, and they will also be disabled for this weekend as well. And we also just heard that Chevaliers will be getting a small nerf. So hopefully in the CB Rivals tournament you will be seeing a bit more infantry. But last weekend we still could see a lot of Cav, and Pond Guard had chosen to do something surprising, also with Plebs banning Imperial Spears. And we saw Pond Guard play Longbow for the first time ever in the tournament, I think. And they were playing a lot of ranged and trying to use the high ground. How did you look at that match, if you have seen it?
I mean, like, it was quite surprising. Like, when we scripted Pond Guard and we saw Longbowmans, like, we were like, is it real? Like, is it really Longbowman?
Yeah.
I mean, they, during the scrims, they did quite well. They were annoying the Falcos, so it was quite surprising, but it's a strat, I will say. Pond Guard tried, and like, maybe it worked. I can't really tell something. But I mean, like, Pond Guard, I think they were preparing for a lot of Cav. That's why they played really on the high ground. We can remember very much against Chocolate Goblins during the Corto, like where Chocolate Goblins used a lot of Cav, and Pond Guard didn't knew how to react on it. But that's quite good for Pond Guard, I would say, because they managed to like modify their strat on the track to be able to beat Kebabs to 0. Like, Pond Guard managed to break this strat with the full Cav, and I mean, that worked out against Kebab, so they learned from this experience, I will say.
Yeah, exactly, and that's what I think is really interesting, that Pond Guard has been able to show that you can also play with the standard setup, basically, right? You just the Ferengi and the Shield Maiden, the Shenji, some Flamers, perhaps Falconetti, and even Longbow then, I guess. because that's how they also were able to beat Kebabs, when Kebabs were spamming the Liaos and the Cav on Coracast, like you said. And now they also made an adjustment to play against Plebs. And just to give you an idea about how close it was, for those who haven't seen it or are going to see it now after this, Bondguard kept the A point for like 70-80%, just by being on the point using auto ranged, and Plebs just couldn't really get on the point with the heroes. And that's how they got a lot of the percentages, and then Plebs was forced to like fight them and try to get units on the point, and that's how Bondguard were able to get, like you said, the Falconetti and some of the other specialist units. They had to go back to refill their ammo, of course, after a while. Then they tried to do the same thing, but lost the fight because they went down. They didn't do. I think they kind of like didn't use the strategy well enough, because in the first push they only put like 2 or 3 units on the point to bait the Plebs, and then in the second push they did in that way. They put almost all of it on the A point, and then the Cav came in and they got wiped. So that shows that the Cav's still really strong. Then Bondguard did the gate push, and in the gate push they did quite well, but then when they respawned with like 2 minutes to go, they decided to go for the wall. And at that point, if you look at the match, and I'm gonna have to look at it again as well, but you could see that Plebs was actually retreating to the supply to get new units, to get like refills. And I think Bondguard could have had an opportunity there, but of course they couldn't see it because they were respawning, to actually go through the gate again, get on the point, and perhaps kept those like final 5 seconds, because they only needed a couple of seconds. So it was that close in the first game.
Yeah, I mean, against teams like Pleb, you need to try something different. You need to try to get them out of their comfort, but like
and play almost perfectly as well.
yeah, exactly. And like, but something that is really well with Pleb, they can adjust to every strat. Like that's where they're really strong. Like they can adjust their gameplay and just manage to win.
Yeah, exactly. And you can see that they can adjust, and they are always playing so aggressive as well. Whenever Bondguard was retreating, Plebs were like on their tails trying to pick off a couple of units and get a few wins there. So that was really interesting to see. Of course, Amia is always on the back. The distance of Fenrir that did get killed this time, so Amia had to run away with the tail between his legs. But he did come back with the Cav quite well there. Alright. I think that's enough about the Feudal Division for now. Next matches on this Sunday will be Surslayer versus Bondguard. That will be very interesting to see, because Bondguard wants to make it out of 6th place, but Surslayer want to still be in contention for 1st place, of course, or 2nd. Plebs versus Argonautas, as we said, and then we also have Kebabs versus Odins, which will be an interesting match to see as well, after Odins also tied versus No Beaches. Kebabs needs to win if they want to still have a chance to win the season against Plebs. That is assuming you guys take off a game against Plebs.
Yeah.
And then No Beaches against Slavs. No Beaches needs to win if they want to still play for 2nd place. And Slavs realistically are not going to get enough points to stay in the Feudal Division, but they probably definitely want to still have some fun playing against some of the good teams. Slavs will be playing against Odins in the last week, so that will also be pretty important for them. Alright, that's it for the standings and all that. Anything else you also would like to bring up?
Not really, like just I think the main thing we need to focus is to have fun with the games, to respect the enemy, like always, but yeah, just have fun, and GG to everyone that we fought, and yeah, let's just have fun for the rest of us, and a lot of things can still happen.
Yeah, absolutely. Anything is on the table, and remember, we're playing the game. We're all trying to have a good time for sure. Yep. Sometimes in the heat of battle, you can forget, and it's allowed to be a little, to show some banter and be a bit, to create a rivalry. It's called CB Rivals for a reason, but always be respectful. Absolutely. All right. Let's see. So we talked about the meta, we talked about the Rustic, we talked about the Feudal. We talked about you and your team. We can talk about so much more, but for now I think we're gonna keep it here and close it out like this. Aside from the closing words you had just now, anything else you'd like to add?
Um, Not that much. Like just GG to everyone. Let's keep it going and let's go for another season after the two last matches
Yeah.
from Feudal, and
Mhm.
let's see who can manage to get to the Feudal in the Rustic.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'm really hyped for the Rustic. The Feudal division might be over after this round. We'll see. Hopefully, Argonauts can throw in another upset against Plebs. But if not, then still GG to you guys. You played really well this season, so thank you for playing the Feudal. And good luck to all the Rustic teams in the next couple of weeks because your matches will be absolutely amazing to follow. All right, thank you all guys for watching, listening, and supporting the CB Rifles League. We will be seeing you on Sunday at 7 CEST. And Silent, thank you so much for joining us and have fun in your matches.
Yeah, thank you, CB, for having me, and goodbye, everyone.
Yes.